One thing we probably should have brought up on the last show, but didn't because I am not always the best podcast host, is that the University of Alabama Systems Board and trustees met last week and formally voted to rename the field inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Unanimous measure will now be called Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium, commemorating, obviously, Nick Saban's tenure at Alabama. There will be an official ceremony September 7th, week 2, during halftime of the Alabama-South Florida game in Tuscaloosa. Alex, how should we feel about Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium?
Meh. I mean, honestly, you could call it Nick Saban University, and that'd be appropriate. So you could call the stadium Saban Stadium, and it wouldn't be enough. The impact he's had in terms of all parts of the university, not just the athletic department. I get it. Their names on things, you don't want to take them down. So the easy thing to do is put a name on something that doesn't have a name yet. But it doesn't feel like enough. It really doesn't feel like enough. So unless there's more left to do that we don't know about, it feels like a nice gesture, but something they'll probably have to revisit in time once we get a little bit further from it. We know that, matter of fact, yes, he is the greatest coach of all time. Should be given a little bit more applause, I guess.
I would argue that, not even close to enough. Nobody's going to refer to it as Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's just like a thing we're going to see when we walk into the building each game, right? Because this will be done by the time the season starts. Bryant-Saban Stadium sounds a heck of a lot better, and not, no offense to Denny, he's got the chimes, but I don't know. I don't think it's near enough. What do you think, Mike?
I think it's tough to fault George Denny and just take his name down. There's not a good reason to. I mean, obviously there's been certain historical figures in this state that, might deserve that sort of treatment, but I don't think there's anything in his past that would prompt that. So I think it sets a weird precedent to start taking names down just because, like, George Denny died in 1955. There's not a ton of Alabama fans that were around, remember him being alive. And just kind of the idea that, he's old, nobody remembers him, like, let's just get rid of his name, I think is not a great precedent because, look, I mean, Bear Bryant's going to be in that category one day too. There's going to be a day when very few fans remember when Bear Bryant coached. In fact, a decent amount of the fan base right now doesn't. So that's kind of the tricky part, as time passes with a lot of things. I mean, I think you have this problem with retiring numbers, and it's not really a thing in college sports, but it is in pro sports. And you have players that, for the Yankees or Red Sox or whatever, that played 80 years ago, and you retired number 3 for the Red Sox. I think it was Bobby Doerr, a guy who, like, nobody right now would remember him playing. But back then he was a big deal. But now you can't use number 3. And, you kind of build up. You have all these numbers that get retired, or in the case of buildings, you have a bunch of buildings that get named, but then you have more years and years of history beyond that, and you're trying to find ways to honor the people who come after it. And there's going to be a coach who comes after Nick Saban who probably deserves to be honored one day. What are you going to do? Add his name? Denny, Bryant, Saban, Smith Stadium? You just can't keep tacking things on. So it's a tricky situation. I think they found a good compromise in putting the name of the field. I don't know how much we're going to use it in our lexicon. I don't know how much fans are going to use it. I don't know how much fans in general use the name Bryant-Denny Stadium. Like, if you're just saying to someone, like, go meet me at Bryant-Denny, you're just going to say, go meet me at the stadium. Like, you're not going to use a name. Everybody knows what the stadium is in Tuscaloosa. So I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it sets a bad precedent to take somebody's name down. That's not deserving of their name taken down. I think they tried with some of the signage renderings that they've released to have it prominently displayed inside of the stadium where the players walk in. It's going to be right above that door, in the tunnel. Stuart Bell is trying to make the point on that trustees call that the field has never been named before. So this is like new ground that they're breaking. These are going to be the first group of players that play on Saban Field, trying to make it special that way. I think there's other ways you can probably honor Nick Saban. They have a lot of those streets around that area named for the championship coaches. You have Bryant Drive, you have Wallace Wade, you have Frank Thomas, you have Gene Stallings. I would imagine Nick Saban's going to get his.
Hmm.
I don't think it's going to be University Drive. I would guess maybe Colonial Drive, which is on the east side, immediately to the east of the stadium. So you can add his name there, as other coaches have had. So he already has a statue. Like,
I have an unorthodox solution that will probably make a certain member of the fan base mad. I got a building you can put his name on, a building they need to renovate desperately. Saban Coliseum. Why does it need to be Coleman Coliseum? I don't know the full history.
well,
I mean,
The pushback on that though is that
it's going to be named it all. People are going to say it all the time. It's going to be right next to the stadium nearby. Put his name on that.
the pushback on that is that he was the football coach, not the basketball coach.
Played a lot of basketball there, though.
Yes, he did.
At least with the bat, it'll be weird, but people will call it that, and it will be in the lexicon. I mean, I think what's done is done. They're not going. I don't know how you put his name on the stadium now. Maybe you do it 10 years from now when he retires from the university. Maybe that's what they're holding out for. But it feels like not enough. I'm looking for a little bit more. So maybe it's unorthodox, but I put his name on this.
Maybe he balls out in the media space for the next 15 years and they rename the communications program after Saban. I'm only half joking.
Coleman Coliseum was named after Jefferson Jackson Jeff Coleman, a longtime Crimson Tide historian, business manager, and alumni director who served on the committee that oversaw the Coliseum's planning and construction.
No disrespect, but come on. I mean, he didn't play a lot of hoops there either.
If you build a new arena, though,
you tell Nick donate $1 million.
right?
He'll do it.
Maybe that's a good
Will
landing
shake
spot.
his hand and be very thankful and say and call it Saban Coliseum every chance he gets.
Right. Have Saban make the final donation that gets him over the hump for the arena, and then that gives you an excuse to put his name on the building.
Bingo.
Don't hate it. Don't hate it. Nate Oates scored it. Saban Coliseum. There you go.